Structural reality in many different places is ignored, but in places like the Balkans and Caucasus, they are the only thing that really matters. And this is something fairly unique to places like Georgia, Armenia, and so forth. Now, what do I mean by structural realities? I mean anything that you can physically touch, feel, anything that you can see in person, often are seen as more stable, as better for overall monetary gain. And this is extremely different to the West, where in places like Germany, in places like France or the UK or the US, stocks are seen as positive, partial ownership is seen as okay, and people don't necessarily have the same outward hesitation towards partial ownership or shared ownership. However, it's often in the Caucasus that you find people that do not like shared ownership, and there's less of it to go around. If you look at a lot of the major companies in Georgia, for instance, Magdigam, it's owned wholly by a family conglomerate. And if you look at the land, for instance, in Kakheti or in places like that, a lot of the land is owned by family. And there's a long history that we could go over, which I think I'll do in another video, where places and people like Erekle II and Erekle III, kings of Georgia, former kings, that had major power, kept that power even through empires collapsing, through Soviet publicization of lands. Realistically, Georgians have held on to their overall country, and they've held on to what they once owned. And this leads to, first of all, an oligarchic class, and yes, Georgia is captured by oligarchs, especially people like Bidzina Ivanishvili, which owns a ton of lands and a ton of homes in, for example, Mtatsminda in Tbilisi, or a giant compound in Sachkhere, his former city where he was born, and his former place of residence. What Georgians do, and additionally what Balkan people and Caucasian people do, is they capture physical assets before they even dip their hands into digital assets. And it's with this that there's a huge power imbalance in terms of who makes money with land rents and who doesn't. Of course, this creates difference in how people perceive the country. Some people perceive it very different to others. And it's with this structural imbalance that you get large clan dynasties that have survived centuries. But here's the thing no one tells you. These clan dynasties are actually your biggest advantage. And if you navigate them correctly, you invariably get access to some of the biggest deals of your life, to people that will build you up personally, and to overall dynastic prowess that otherwise would not have gotten given to you if you didn't know clan system. Now, Georgia has long been a clan-based system, and as I live here, or as I have lived here, Georgians very much stick to family bonds and family deals. So if someone is selling an asset, it's not one person selling another asset to another person. It's one family selling an asset to another family. And this is something that is true throughout the Caucasus. It's true throughout the Balkans. And obviously you get a little bit of a different view of how things work. And especially where I am right now, with dynasties, it is even more so clan-based. Same in Georgia, which creates a very interesting dynamic of how people interact and what people do day to day in terms of just about everything. And when I walk through here, it reminds me of when I was looking at buying houses in Kutaisi, in Batumi, in Chiatura, in Tbilisi. You're not buying the house from a single person. You're buying it from their entire family. And of course, this creates a very interesting negotiation ritual where you will have meals with their family. You will talk about everything that needs to happen unless it's on a loan and it's just a reclaimed house. And so it's with this that, of course, living in these areas and these regions, you get an insane amount of just connectedness in negotiations. And with the clan-based ideology, you are obligated to somehow connect yourself to the greater group. If you are an outsider, it's very unlikely that you will be accepted solely as an outsider. And whether that's through friends or people that know you or whatever else, you do need someone to introduce you to how things work here. And of course, if you are looking at moving here, I would recommend to find locals to talk with locals. And if you are at all interested in me helping you move here, feel free to comment down below or reach out for a call, one-on-one, 15 minutes absolutely free on the Calendly link linked in the description. Of course, if you like this video, feel free to like it. If you really like this video, feel free to share it with your friends. If you want to join me on this journey of internationalization and globalization, feel free to subscribe. This has been the Traveling Report, signing off.